Hello mathematicians, it's Miss Armgart back for another instructional video. Today we are going to talk about integers, positive and negative numbers used to describe opposite values. So the first part is, what are the two sets of numbers we have? When we talk about integers, we mean positive and negative numbers. So the numbers that are bigger than 0 and the numbers that are less than 0. Positive and negatives are opposites. So when we say we have the whole number of 4, we want to write the opposite of 4. That would be negative 4. The opposite of negative 2 and 3/4, 2 and 3/4, is positive 2 and 3/4. Now, you will sometimes see people write the plus next to the 2 to indicate that it is positive. You can do that, but if there's no symbol, we also assume that just written down 2 and 3/4 is also positive. We are going to place our temperatures on this thermometer, which you'll notice is just a vertical number line. The one above it is a horizontal. This is the same thing, just tilted up. So we are going to plot 42 degrees Celsius, 12 degrees Celsius, -2 Celsius, 38 Celsius, and -5 Celsius. So what is the highest temperature? Well, that is 42 degrees Celsius, which would be right up here, 42. The lowest temperature is not 12. 12 would be right here above 10. We need to look at our negatives, and that would be -22 degrees Celsius. So that's going to be below 20 right there. That will be -22 instead of above 20. So 22 is above. It's going to be on the opposite side of the number line. So then what is the difference in the highest and lowest temperature? So we are going to add 42 degrees Celsius plus 22 degrees Celsius to get a total of 64 degrees Celsius. So between positive 42 and -22, there are 64 places between there. So now, the question down here, what does the 0 represent? The 0 is the freezing level because in Celsius, it's 0. So the 0 represents freezing. It represents the middle where everything above is warmer, is not frozen. It represents the freezing temperature. All right, so now we are going to look at this problem where you are walking from your friend's house, from your house to your friend's house, 6 blocks east. Okay, so we have our picture here. Our picture has a number line helpfully for us. So we are going to just draw a quick compass to remind ourselves that north and south are opposite and east and west are opposite. So you'll see west is already labeled here, which means east is to the right. So your house has to be the blue one because you are going to walk 6 blocks. So from 1 to 6, you walked 6 blocks east and then stayed at your friend's house for a little bit. Later that day, you walked to the park west, so the opposite direction, 10 blocks because you went from 6 to -4, and 6 plus 4 is 10. That's where we got the 10 blocks. So how far did you walk? Okay, lots of things going on here. So let's talk about walking to your friend. What integer do we use to represent a gain of 6 blocks? We would use +6, or remember, you can just write the number 6. So if we are representing a loss of 10 blocks, the opposite direction, well, we know integers, the opposite is our negative, so that would be -10, because it's a total of 10 blocks, but it's in the opposite direction. That would be a loss of 10 blocks. So the 0 in this situation is not freezing. The 0 represents your house, where you started is the 0. Because when we measure things, it's easiest for our brains to start from 0. When you use a ruler, you don't start in the middle of the ruler. You start at the end of the ruler and go out from there. You start at the 0. So how far away is the park from your house? There's a couple ways to do it. You could simply look at the number line because your house is 0 and the park is 4 blocks away. You're simply counting. Or you could know that your friend's house is 6, the total is 10, therefore your house is 4 blocks away. Now remember, the direction is important. So what integer would we use? Well, we see that the line is going to the left, it's going west, so it will be a -4. It's the opposite direction that you walk to your friend's house, so it is -4. Now, make sure that you fill in your vocabulary with examples so that you remember the word integer. That will appear on your PCQ and on your test. And I am Miss Armgart saying happy solving.